Welcome back to the Grunge Bible Podcast. This is episode number 72, coming to you wherever you may be. My name is Chris Salona, and I am joined by Ethan Shalloway, who's done a little bit of traveling recently. We've got a different location here for the backdrop. How are you? What's this about here?
I'm doing well, Chris. So, yeah, I'm back in Pennsylvania. This is, what day is today? Thursday? Thursday?
Is Thursday, August 4th.
So, yeah, I got in late Saturday about a week ago almost. So I've been here for almost a week, just enjoying some family time back with the brothers, hanging out, and finished up some travel. So I'm going to be here for the next 3 weeks. We have a vacation in the Outer Banks that we're getting ready for.
That's great.
So yeah, it's nice. It's not as hot. It's hot here still, but it's not as bad as Alabama. It's very sticky down south. So, energy levels are doing well. I'm in a good spot. I'm feel good. I feel like I'm ready for a nice episode on Mother Love Bone today. Something people have been asking for. So yeah, I'm doing good. How are you? How are you doing, Chris?
I'm good. As you said, it's Thursday.
You're in your normal setup.
Normal
you got
consistency,
Mr.
as always.
You got your Rhode Island pilot, or not pilot. Your seafaring old man there.
Yeah, the captain here. He's with me as always. But yeah, things are good. It's a Thursday, as you said. Yesterday, I went to the beach after work. That was great. Met up with some buddies of mine for some dinner down there by the ocean. I had my first lobster roll of the year, which was exemplary. I'm really happy about that. So
I forgot you can go to the beach any day.
I can go to the beach whenever I want. I'm like 45 minutes away.
Yeah, that's nice. I guess when I'm in Pennsylvania, I'm only an hour away from the beach anyway, too, from Ocean City. But that's a little closer.
Yeah, it's nice. I don't go as often as I should. I'm trying to change that this month, seeing that it's already August and the clock's ticking on that line of activity. So gotta make it count while we're here, man.
Yeah, I've yet to be to the beach yet this summer, so
that's gonna change soon. Outer Banks.
Oh yeah. Maybe even a day trip, but
yeah.
So I think we have some people to thank. We're gonna get right into it.
We absolutely do. Let's get into it, Ethan.
Yeah, we lost a few members, believe it or not. I saw somebody they passed away in the Grunge Bible ranks, as we can say. But it's okay because somebody decided to join on.
Absolutely.
And, as long as somebody comes in to take the spot, so if you're listening right now and you want to hear your name be said, then
it's as easy as a $2 commitment every single month, and that is what this individual decided to order up their shitty cup of coffee. And we would like to welcome Seeing Cantaloupe to the ranks here over on Patreon. They decided that enough was enough, and they needed a shitty cup of coffee. So we're thankful for them joining at the $2 level. I mean, I don't know what that's about. Seeing Cantaloupe. What's your opinion on cantaloupe? Do you like cantaloupe? No, I think it sucks.
Cantaloupe and melons are they're in that weird fruit where you almost never get ripe ones.
Yes.
So they get a bad rep.
Yeah, and they're bland.
You always get them and they're hard. I feel like if you get a good one, they're really juicy and they can be really good. Kind of like pears have a really nice. Pears have a really nice window where they're delicious.
Absolutely.
But if you get a hard pear, then
I mean, but the thing with cantaloupe, if I'm gonna eat cantaloupe, I'm just gonna eat something else. I'm not gonna eat the cantaloupe.
I actually have a question. What are your opinions on watermelon, Chris?
I like watermelon a lot in the summertime. Obviously, I mean there's no there's no volume to it. You just eat it. It's great.
I hate it. I hate watermelon.
You hate it? What's the matter?
It just doesn't do it for me. It's an unpopular opinion because people love it. And
it's fair.
But like you said, it's water. It's a lot of water and just a lot of seeds.
Yeah.
So I'm I'll be eating it and just
I'll put it this way. I never order it. I never purchase it, rather. Excuse me.
Go to a restaurant and order some watermelon.
I'll take some watermelon. No, I never purchase it, but if you're at a cookout and you've stuffed yourself with some glizzies and some brats and whatnot, some burgers. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta maybe a corn on the cob and then some watermelon to finish. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could get that slice of watermelon, or you could just drink a glass of water and probably be more hydrated.
Yeah, exactly, but it makes you feel like you're eating something. You trick yourself. You deceive yourself. You lie to yourself.
I don't like deceiving myself.
I do it every day. So
yeah, I do it all the time.
Absolutely.
No,
So
I don't know.
cantaloupe
It doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I mean watermelon. I mean I'm not reaching for them, either of them. Certainly, if I have to pick one fruit, I'm not going to the watermelon. I'm not going to the cantaloupe either. But we're happy that Seeing Cantaloupe came to us and decided to contribute to the Patreon. As we said, they joined at the $2 level, and that could be you next week if you so desire. The links are always in the podcast episode description and at our bio and on our website. But as always, this episode, in addition to Seeing Cantaloupe, it's brought to you by our top level patrons, and they are Darian Riddle, Alex Long, Rachel Corning, Fuck Soup, Jade Mercado, Doug Endy, Black Hole Sean, Captain Hightop, Chris LSMS, Lauren Irene, Nikki Six, Marianne, Release, Millie, Alexis Shannon, Kayla Jean, Sunny Mashburn, our number one fan from Australia, Wayne Staley, What the Fuck's Up, Denny's, Jamie Lynn, Carlene Salona, Seattle 4, Fanboy from New Jersey, Fresh Tendonitis, Blue Owl, Kara K, Brother Nature, Kitty Cooper, I Hate Your Mom, Shoe the Shoeless, and Eddie Vedder got me through my second divorce.
Dang.
I felt good there. I just rattled those off. That was good.
Yeah, you were like,
I was locked in.
You were rolling there. Yeah.
That was really
you were
good.
Rolling. That was great.
Yeah, 100%.
Really good. So yeah, if you would like to hear your name or just show some support other than listening to the page, the podcast, following the page, that is,
you know what to do.
Become a patron. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if not, just continue listening and being active and engaging. And we'll be okay with that for now.
100%. So as we said last week on the Audio Slave episode, for the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about just some different bands that our Patreon members have suggested that we talk about that maybe we haven't spent as much time with here on the podcast. And if you want to let your voice be heard for that, that's another reason to join the Patreon. We've gotten a lot of great feedback, a lot of good bands that we're hopefully going to get to over these next few weeks.
Ton of bands.
Yeah, I think, as you said earlier, Ethan, it just makes sense to start with Mother Love Bone this week.
Yeah, kind of the band that kicked everything off. Well, I guess Green River and Malfunction started this band, which then started a lot of other bands, or a lot of other great music. So
it's so interesting as kind of a footnote for this band, and everybody who knows something about like the grunge Seattle Pacific Northwest scene, that a lot of these bands were intertwined, and that there was a big fraternal element to it, and everybody seemed to jam together at different times. But it's just kind of like it's that meme, that It's Always Sunny meme, with like all of the dots connecting. It's like, okay, so this person was from this band and they got here, and then this person came in who was also in that band. And that's what I feel like with Mother Love Bone, because you have these people coming from, as you said, Green River and Malfunction, and then going on to be a part of so many different bands. It's really, really impressive, and it's kind of like that fork in the road spot where everybody came here, and then because of the tragedy, obviously, of the death of Andrew Wood, a lot of different music was created thereafter. But Mother Love Bone in its own right, very, very significant, and just a innovative band, and a band that is, in my opinion, one of the biggest what ifs of the genre and of the scene, because they only released the one album and the one EP, and Andrew Wood passed away in March of 1990. But what are your initial thoughts on this band, or do you remember listening to them for the first time? Because I remember when we started the page and we didn't really know much about the genre at the time. People were like, you got to listen to Mother Love Bone. Andrew Wood was otherworldly. You got to check him out. So what were your thoughts then, and what do you think about this band now?
Yeah, my first memory of the band was kind of, we were getting into all the lead singers and talking about how charismatic, Eddie can be, and Chris Cornell and whatnot. And people were like, well, you got, Andrew Wood, like he was the most charismatic of them all, and they would refer to Andy is like just one of just, a star child, and just incredible on stage. So I think kind of went into it and had that idea that he was exactly that. And he was dynamic in so many different ways. And when you listen to it, I think he is very unique. He stands out, in the group of the five, the 10 frontmen that you can think of from the era and stuff. I mean, he is like extremely unique, and I think that's special. I think he really could have been transcendent in a lot of ways. So
totally,
yeah, I think that we missed out on a really great legacy, but it's okay because we still have what we have. We still have a legacy.
Yeah, and we're certainly grateful for that. And just kind of to how we got to Mother Love Bone, it's really interesting kind of talking about that melting pot. I mean, you had Andrew Wood from Malfunction. He was also joined by Bruce Fairweather, who was also from Malfunction, but also played in Green River along with Jeff Ament and Stone Gossard. And for the majority of Mother Love Bone's lifetime, they had Greg Gilmore over there on the drums. And, a lot of these guys, I mean, they would go on, obviously, most significantly, Stone and Jeff go on to play in Pearl Jam, but you have Temple of the Dog in there, Brad, Love Battery, a lot of these individuals went on to play in a lot of different bands. And I think something that really I forget about sometimes with a Pearl Jam or even, any of the other bigger bands is that a lot of these individuals in those bands had been playing music for 10 or 15 years prior to this point. And even that's true about Mother Love Bone. I mean, they got together in late 87 and, really started getting going in 88 and 89. But by that point, a lot of those guys had been playing in bands for almost 10 years in the entirety of the decade of the 1980s. So while we think of it as kind of like a starting point for what the genre would become, I mean, this was well down the road for all of them, and they were already very experienced musicians and writers. And with the limited time that they had, I think they were certainly able to create really, really good music. And it's funny because I don't think of Mother Love Bone at all as grunge. I don't know what to call it. I don't know where to put it.
I was gonna bring that up. It's like I think that maybe if they had the 80s like rock sound to it. They're kind of psychedelic, like
a little bit of glam, a little bit of that going on.
Exactly, glam, yeah, and it was very 80s inspired, and also like Zeppelin inspired, I guess, or like rock and roll, but like it was so psychedelic in a way. Like I felt it was psychedelic rock and like a little bit harder way.
Yeah,
and it was. Oh, dude, I love listen. I always am surprised when I listen to the album and I hear so many influences from, like is it the 80s, the early 80s?
Exactly. And I think listening to them, when I first listened to them, I was expecting to hear like Pearl Jam Part 1, obviously, because you had Stone and Jeff in there, and Stone obviously writing a lot of the Pearl Jam songs earlier on.
And you can still hear it.
You still can hear that.
You still hear a little bit of that now that we know.
Absolutely. And I think a really interesting thing that I always think about when I think about this band is that a lot of the demos that turned into some of Pearl Jam's first songs were Mother Love Bone demos that Stone Gossard had cut during his time with the band, and that they had worked around and whatnot. And I remember hearing a story that somewhere out there was a version of Times of Trouble, which was a Temple song, but also Footsteps, the Pearl Jam song, that music that Andrew Wood had written lyrics for. And it's always interesting to me thinking about some of those songs, like I believe Alive and Alive and Once were demos from the Mother Love Bone era. It's always interesting for me to think about what that would have sounded like in the context of Mother Love Bone. Yeah. But I mean, I think back to that time, and I think that they were a band of their time, and they were innovative in the context of the 80s, I would say, certainly, where they kind of blended 100%. Those psychedelic, vibes along with a little bit of glam, a little bit of hair metal too, and just kind of hard driving rock and roll from the 70s that a lot of these guys were raised on. I mean, I feel like everybody from this era, it was Zeppelin, it was Sabbath, there were a lot of these bands that people just, held in such high regard. And you can hear all of that in this band. And it's crazy too, because something that we spoke about, I think, when we were talking about Facelift from Alice in Chains last year, is that it's always an interesting thing to hear a band's first record or a first EP before there were any expectations as to what they were to sound like. And, that's kind of an unanswered question for them, because it was the only one. Apple came out in 1990, and Shine, the EP, came out the year prior. But, it's a band that in terms of, mainstream success or even, chronology, never was able to get off the ground because of Andrew Wood's struggles with drugs and ultimately his death.
The single album, I think I saw that they were on, people make lists of where the album ranks, and it was like 18 for the one album wonders, not like the one hit wonders, but the one album wonders. They had like 18 or something, which, we know a few of other bands we've talked about, obviously Temple and Mad Season, but
certainly
because it happens. But I do love that debut album, the idea that it's going to be the most raw, and it's going to be the most, like, I don't know, most organic, like it is. So I think like we're, privileged to have a really nice set of songs that we can listen to from them.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I really appreciate the piano that they use in their songs.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite. Like when we talk about later, like our lists, like the songs that I have at the top of my list are their slower stuff, because we're on record. I don't like hair metal and like kind of the glam rock is not like my favorite. So some songs like don't always, like some of the songs that they have on the record are not my. Yeah, they're not something I'm going to throw on all the time. His voice saves a lot of it. I think his voice is really special, but I love their slower songs. And like when he's just singing over, they bring in the strings a little bit. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really glad you brought that up, because I have always loved the inclusion of piano or keys. Or organ even in a rock setting, and I think it's really cool.
So good.
Because this isn't something that persisted into grunge, which is why I struggle to relate the music from Mother Love Bone into what the grunge scene would become for all intents and purposes. But I think what you also said in just terms of Andrew Wood's voice just kind of flying above everything and shining through the entire catalog. However limited it is. And not only Andrew's talent or in his stage presence, but also, I mean, this is a person that, since he died 32 years ago, and while he lived, I mean, nobody had a bad thing to say about him. He was seemingly universally loved, and, to this day, people hold him in high regard. And it's really interesting, as I was talking about earlier, just how intertwined it was. I mean, Chris Cornell and Andrew Wood were roommates back in the day, and there were these old legends of how they would live together and, both go into their rooms and just try to write a song that would be better than the song the other person was writing. And just like that level of mastery just all existed in one finite period of time in one finite geographical area is really, really impressive. And I think obviously
just thinking of them living together, like sharing a cup of coffee, talking about the stuff they're writing.
Yeah. Wow. And just like the tributes that would roll in, obviously, the song Wood, Candlebox, Temple of the Dog, obviously. And even a few years ago, people would get together and, they would play tribute songs. I mean, Temple of the Dog on their 2016 tour played a lot of Mother Love Bone music. And Chris Cornell said once in an interview that really, up until the point of Andrew Wood's death, everything was kind of good for all of the musicians in the scene as musicians, and they were all having fun. And that, Andrew Wood was just kind of this beam of light above everything else in the scene. And he recalls, being able to walk into the hospital and to see him hooked up to machines after having overdosed. That kind of changed everything, and it kind of ended the era of innocence from that musical scene, which is interesting because I think a lot of people would think that 94 Kurt Cobain's death and even Lane's struggles and whatnot were that, but I think this added a certain level of gravity and heaviness to the scene that I think informed a lot of the music, obviously, that was to be made in the years to come in the early 90s. And it's just it's the most unfortunate testament in the sense that you hate that it exists because he's not here, but it's a testament to who Andrew Wood was and the music that he was creating with these people.
Yeah, the music's by itself is really incredible, but you're probably right. The impact of him passing away probably had more of an impact on the music scene and the music to come than any single band can really do. I mean, yeah, those personal, like, have really close connections to, all the members that we've been talking about.
Yeah,
and their hands and the projects that they've been with. It's all connected, which is just really is so crazy to think about Seattle being like that.
Yeah,
at one time.
And like, I forget about it sometimes.
Like, it is really hard for us because we weren't there, so it's like it is difficult to.
These are opinions after the fact from millennials.
Yeah, and sometimes. But I love, I really close my eyes and I think really hard what it would be like to be, walking into the moor and seeing, Alice in Chains or seeing, Mother Love Bone playing and, and just trying to, just correlate it to something that happens now that I'm experiencing is the fun. It's a fun thing to try and, scope it out here.
So you need a flow chart.
Yeah, but man, pretty intense.
Absolutely.
Intense.
So let's talk about the music a little bit, and let's kind of pick some of our favorite songs from their work. Now, obviously, the Shine EP in '89, and then the debut Apple album in 1990. But then later on in 2016, they released a box set called On Earth as It Is, which is a complete box set of, I believe, there are 40 recordings of Mother Love Bone that they included on there. It's got a lot of different demos and just different unreleased tracks. And, for a band to have only essentially have 40 recorded songs, I mean, the legacy that they have is large in stature for sure, in the sense that it's still inspiring people today and people still listen to this stuff as we do. So yeah, let's get into some of, I guess, some of your favorites and kind of what stands out to you about those songs.
Yeah, I think I wrote down like 7 songs. I really like Gentle Groove for kind of an honorable mention. I feel like it has the piano in it. It has like just a little slower and it's like allows, or the beginning is, and allows his voice to, like you said, I like how you say it, soar over the song, and and he's like singing from above it, which he's doing now. So Gentle Groove I always liked, and Heart Shine, that one's also a really good one, but not maybe not my top 5 or so.
Yeah.
Do you have any honorable mentions, or do you have anything that
Yeah, there's one from the box set that came out in 2016, and it's kind of a slow ballad demo. It's called Bloody Shame. I remember when this box set came out, it was right around the time that we started getting into the genre. It was November of 2016. We had probably gotten into it a year prior, give or take. And I remember listening to this one, and it's just kind of, it's very melancholy, and for a band that spent a lot of time, playing kind of faster tempo stuff as well. I mean, they were so versatile in the sense that they could do both. And this one's just kind of, stripped down acoustic guitar, really, really kind of slow, and makes you think. And that's one that I certainly think about, from songs that didn't get their due on an official record release. And something that's interesting, I'm thinking about it now, all of the songs that I have on my list, I guess with the exception of that one, the lyrical imagery that was used is very, it's very mythical. It's almost like it's like Plant-esque in that sense, where they're singing about lofty things, and his talent as a songwriter was really, really impressive, and it kind of, I think, adds to that, if you want to call it that psychedelic element to the music. That the imagery is really, really impressive in a lot of these songs that he was writing on.
And he pretty much wrote all the lyrics for, like, I think of pretty much all of them, right? On the main album, I think.
Yeah, I believe so.
And Stone and Jeff wrote all the music, so he's pretty consistent throughout the whole time. Like you said, really good imagery. Let's see. I do. I like put Come Bite the Apple and Bone China are both, like, I don't know, in the same realm for me, and they have that, like, kind of like that 80s rock, that I enjoy. Those two songs, like, kind of like are good. They're like right in my sweet spot.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
I feel like I go to them, and really they're not what when I think of, like, the Mother Love Bone that I like, it's gonna be Stargazer and Chloe Dancer, Crown of Thorns. But those two songs are really good. Bone China, I was kind of jamming to on the way over here, and it was pleasant. It was very pleasant.
Yeah, absolutely. Come Bite the Apple. The chorus on that is like one of my favorite things from the entire catalog of the music that they put together.
Nice. Yeah.
And kind of what you just said, like, it's like the aspect of the 80s that I like. I mean, Mother Love Bone, for me, retroactively, they rode that line perfectly for, like, they went as far into the whole 80s shtick as I can handle, and I can really get down to this stuff. And I don't know why. Maybe
why?
Psychologically, I'm just predisposed to liking Mother Love Bone because of the grunge connection, or what? I don't know.
Well, I think I know why. It's because it was like an avalanche of the 80s, and they were on the outside leaving it. So we got the 80s, but it's only because that's what they came from, but they were going into grunge. So they were like, it doesn't feel like it feels like they're leaving it, and that's like remnants, that are in the songs. So it's a little bit easier to get to listen to and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean,
it's good. I mean, it's really good, but it seems like, they're entering into grunge, and they're the reason. So it's like, feels like it's like on our way out, which is cool.
Yeah, 100%. And in terms of some of the other songs, I mean, I I heavily gravitate towards, I guess if you want to call them the hits. I mean, they're the hits for a reason. Come Bite the Apple, Stargazer, Star Jog Champion, Chloe Dancer, Crown of Thorns. I feel like I'm double dipping there because there is a Chloe Dancer demo and then Crown of Thorns released on its own. Right. But I mean, on Apple, it's
but that's how
how it was. That's how it was intended. And it's so
that's
how we all
great.
Take it in. And just like the contrast of like the really, really emotional piano Chloe Dancer into this big ballad. And Crown of Thorns is just such a big song. And, you know, that chorus and, you know, those lines at the end, you know, where this is my kind of love. It's the kind that moves on. And just the band is just firing on all cylinders. And I think for me, that's got to be my favorite. You know, Chloe Dancer, Crown of Thorns is for sure my favorite. This is Shangri-La is another honorable mention for me. I honestly have to say, you don't? No, I was just about to say, like Apple for me, like I don't really skip much on this album. I don't think there's anything that's meant to be skipped. Man of Golden Words is also really great.
Well, that was going to bring it up. I think that one, I've been listening. I really like that song. Like that one and Chloe Dancer are my top two. That one has such a good and such a beautiful piano and just really, you know, really good melodic flow to it. It's just really solid.
Absolutely.
And it has, you know, the lyrics of Temple the Dog in there, which is really cool to hear that influence. I love that it came from a song.
Yeah, because obviously, you know, with the whole connection there of Temple being a tribute project for Andrew Wood, as a way for Chris Cornell to kind of memorialize his friend. And I mean, that's another song where just like the imagery that Andrew was able to conjure up with his, you know, with his words and the way he delivered them really kind of, I think, sets them apart from a lot of the lyrical subject matter that would occur later on with grunge. And kind of talking about grunge, it's really interesting because, you know, the conversation that we have all the time is with Nirvana, like where would they have gone after In Utero? I don't even know what to say where Mother Love Bone would have gone after after Apple. I'm really not sure, you know, because obviously with Nirvana, you have like the whole, he was supposed to do something with Michael Stipe, or like they were going to get into some, you know, some different stuff and they were going to move away from grunge. I don't know where Mother Love Bone would have traveled and really what like the landscape would have looked like, obviously, because you wouldn't have had Temple of the Dog, you wouldn't have had Pearl Jam to inform the tastes and the trends of that era.
Yeah. It is a tough one. It seems really hard to pick a path for what that would have been. And I think that, I don't know, I guess if they probably would have released a lot of music, right?
I would think, do you think they would have like so.
Maybe not like as big as Pearl Jam's catalog nowadays, but like I feel like if they 40 recorded songs in 3 years is still pretty.
They would have certainly stuck together, and it was the opinion of many at the time that if there was a band that was going to break through to the mainstream, it was going to be Mother Love Bone. I mean, unilaterally throughout that scene, they earmarked Andrew Wood as being the person that was going to get his band to the top. You know, in 1989 and 1990, pre-grunge explosion, pre-Nevermind, obviously. So I mean, I would believe those thoughts of the people who were there at the time and think that, you know, something big was brewing for this band. So with that in mind, obviously, I think we would have gotten, you know, at least a few more albums. And obviously history has proven that Stone and Jeff, for example, are guys that are just going to keep playing, and they're just going to keep playing. Right. They're going to play in bands until they die. And I think, you know, as a songwriting outfit, you know, everybody collaborating and Andrew writing the lyrics, I think there was a lot that was going to be in store for them as a band. And I think critically and commercially, there was a lot of success that was just down the road for them.
Right. So do you like bands releasing an album once a year, or how much time between albums do you need? I don't know. I'm just thinking about this because, you know,
it's got to depend on the band, I think, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it depends on the band and I guess the quality that comes out of each album. But like, do you like looking forward to one each year and then?
I mean,
just randomly thinking.
Yeah, well, it's so funny because like the trends of what was like the thing to do musically has changed so much. I mean,
Right.
country music, especially in the 60s and 70s, they were such culprits where they would have these artists and like, you're going to release 4 albums a year, you're going to find 4 singles and attach a whole bunch of shit to these things and put them out as albums. And that's what they did. I mean, you have these guys that released like 30 albums in 10 years. Honestly, I think
and
once
now some people just release singles.
Yeah,
they don't release albums.
Honestly, I think like once a year is kind of quick. I mean, I think once every 2 is a healthy, sustainable schedule, but I guess it all depends on the artist. Obviously, when you get older and you get more successful and you have the financial ability, that you don't have to put out a record and tour a record every single year, every single fall or whatever. I mean, you can go 5, 6, 7 years without releasing a record, as Pearl Jam has been doing recently, which is fine. But I don't know.
They're already up there.
Yeah, they already made their dues. I mean, they that's what they did. I mean, if their legacy would be the same, I think, if they had only released 10 verses of Vitalogy. Oh, probably better, he says. We'd have no Sleeping by Myself, though. I mean, we'd really be out of luck here.
Was it the Dance of the
Clairvoyance? Yeah.
Clairvoyance. I do like the 1 year to write an album, 1 year to tour.
Yeah.
And you get to come back to the studio and then go back on tour. That seems like a good rhythm. I think I would like that as a if I was a part of a band of this stature.
Absolutely. It seemed like around this time,
good.
though, the record companies were giving these bands a lot of leeway to kind of take the time that they needed. I mean, I know, the Screaming Trees, for example, they had released Sweet Oblivion, I think in 92, and they wanted them to follow that up with another album in like 93, and it took them like several years to release Dust.
Yeah.
And it kind of continued on from there. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Mother Love Bone, certainly Stone and Jeff as a songwriting outfit, particularly Stone, I would say was a gold mine at this era. I mean, he went on to just hammer out a bunch of content for Pearl Jam and Temple. He worked with too, obviously, and Brad even still. So I mean, I don't think they would have had to wait much longer after 1990 for the sophomore record. But as we know, we're just left with Apple. But what a great record it is, and what a great band they were for the time that they were together. And I mean, Andrew Wood, the kind of guy, like we talk about a lot on this show, he's never going to die his second death. I mean, people are always going to be talking about this guy.
Yeah, and rightfully so. He was a legend and an icon in his own right. Definitely in that area of that time. So it's pretty awesome to look back on. So we're happy to do it. We're happy to be here and have this show and be able to talk about stuff like this.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
So I hope you enjoyed the last 20 minutes on Mother Love Bone. Maybe we'll touch on one of the bands, Malfunction or Green River. Who knows? Maybe we'll go deeper into those.
Absolutely.
Maybe we'll go into 9 Inch Nails. We got a lot of requests for 9 Inch Nails.
It's
Chris.
Incubating. Ethan, do you know anything about 9 Inch Nails?
Oh, it's in that. We don't want to ruin the surprise, but I listened to them a little bit in high school.
Yeah.
Like I know Trent Reznor was the lead singer.
Yep.
And I know Johnny Cash took their most famous song and made it his own.
Shoved it back to him.
I know like a little bit, but no, I really didn't. I didn't have a deep dive into 9 Inch. I mean, I did. I probably listened to them more than you did.
Yeah, I didn't listen to them at all. So.
Yeah, exactly.
By default. But like for me, this is one of those things where somebody tells you, or a bunch of people tell you, that you need to listen to a band, but so many people have told you, and you don't like them initially, so it just feels like a chore, and I don't want to do it.
It's true. I know. Oh man, there's nothing worse than when you are told to listen to a band and you, for some reason, just have kind of not vowed not to, but you just kind of like
basically.
But basically, just like I cannot listen to Guns N' Roses with a clean conscience right now and even digest it. But we got a lot of requests for that too.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, 9 Inch. Unironically,
I think they're trolling us, Chris.
9 Inch Nails, and they know what they're doing to us, the patrons.
They know what they're doing because we do this to them, and then I love that they're giving it back and they're requesting this stuff because we have to listen to them. Yep. So this is great.
Two can play at this game because 9 Inch Nails and Guns N' Roses were the most suggested bands that we discussed. So naturally, we averted that this week, and we might avert it next week too.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, you just never know.
Never
what
let
we're
them
do,
know your next move.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be great. But as you said, we're happy to have chatted about Mother Love Bone for a little bit today. And we thank you for taking the time to listen to this conversation. And we look forward to hearing what you have to say about this band. So interact in the comments, send us a message, whatever you want to do. And if you'd like to support us, you know the ways to do that. There's the Patreon, there's the merch, there's listening, there's leaving a review, there's subscribing, liking, all of that good stuff. You know what to do. You also know by now that we are very thankful for our producer, Drew McFadden, who's sticking with us this whole way. He hasn't gotten tired of us yet, which is great. I don't know how that hasn't happened, but I guess he's stuck with us as we tend to be stuck with him because I don't know how to do any of this shit.
No, there's a reason he's on board.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the man. Yeah, so I guess all we have left to do is Song of the Week. And this is a very important Song of the Week. If you're watching YouTube, you can see Chris is very excited to talk about this. And I could not, co-sign enough or be, I'm behind Chris all the way on this one. I may even do a joint Song of the Week because this is the only song that you should be listening to for the next week. The only artist that you should be listening to. So Chris, why don't you get into who exactly we're going to be talking about, because this is
this is really important. So I spoiled the surprise on August 3rd. I posted a midnight special of this song, but for those who pay attention, you already know my Song of the Week is by James Legg, and apparently that's a person, and the song is called Been Drinking Too Much. And I discovered this song when I was very inebriated this past weekend at a show. We were tailgating before the show, and one of my friends put this on the speaker, and it just hit home. This man has this man's voice sounds as if like Tom Waits was trying to do a Tom Waits impression. It's that gravelly. It's fucking awesome. He plays the piano, but somehow live it sounds like it's like got a fuzz pedal on it. I don't know how he's doing it. There's like harmonica, there's piano, there's drums, and it's just a great song. He's like, you telling me that I've been drinking too much, and I mean sometimes people tell you that. Sometimes you tell other people that. And I mean, the song, the first lyric, and unfortunately, it's a cover. There was another band that wrote this song, but as far as I'm concerned, this is like 9 Inch Nails and Hurt and Johnny Cash. This is James Legg's song. So fuck whoever wrote this. I just fucking love this song. It's so good. James Legg was exactly what I needed.
Yeah, my question is how long into the song before you looked at whoever was on the auction, like, who is this? What are we listening to? How long did it take?
With some of the piano, and I was like, oh shit, this is pretty good. And then as soon as his voice kicks in, he's like, you met me when I was high. It just ruined me, and I knew which one of my friends did it because like he and I we turn each other on to a lot of music all the time. I was like, Tom, like, holy fuck, like, what is this?
Who is
and he was like, this is James Legg. I was like, this is who? It's James Legg.
Mike Watt and Tom Waits had a cousin. They both had this similar, like a cousin that they didn't know about.
Yeah, that they were force-feeding unfiltered menthol cigarettes and whiskey. Yeah. It's great.
At a very young age.
At a very young age. Like when they were probably teething on Marlboros instead of their pacifiers.
I'm excited Yeah, I popped him. He's on Spotify for the people that I was really worried that he wasn't because he doesn't have a Wikipedia, so I was worried that he wasn't going to be out there, but he is. So you guys can listen to him.
You need to.
I'm excited to get into him.
Well, here's the problem, Ethan. I discovered him now like 5 or 6 days ago, right? And I learned this song and I was like, this song is fucking awesome. I can't wait to get into his catalog. I haven't gotten into his catalog at all because I can't get past this song. I've just been listening to this song over and over.
That's how good it is.
That's how good it is. It's James Legg, everybody.
James Legg. Jimmy Lower Appendage, just one of the comments said, which I loved.
That's fantastic.
Dude, it really is good. If you like some good, blues, rock, heavy blues type stuff. I mean, that's what I was getting the whole time.
It's the kind of shit. It's the kind of shit that'll give you a headache after you already have a headache because you're not on any sleep and you did too much the night before. But it doesn't matter because it's James Legg. I mean, come on, it's James fucking Legg. Love James Legg.
What What a great find. You just never know when music is going to give you that person that you've been waiting to hear.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you don't think that there's anybody out there that's going to do that.
Yeah. You think you've seen it all.
You kind of think that, I've seen it all. I've heard it all. I mean, what other iteration of, Tom Waits could I have?
Exactly. And then you think nothing's going to do it for you, and you're just enjoying your afternoon, and then boom, James Legg out of nowhere just punches you in the face and just eviscerates your brain.
Yeah.
And
just kicks you in the shins.
I mean, it's James Legg. I mean, come on.
We met him when we were high, I guess. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, that's just.
He's told us we've been drinking too much.
I mean, that's sometimes, I guess, right? I also have to say, I've looked up. Obviously, I've watched live performances of him, and I've seen what he looks like. I am more intimidated by him than I am just about anybody who's actively creating music at this time.
Where does he rank against like Kim Thayil and Mark Lanigan, as far as looks goes?
I think it goes
or Buzz Osborne.
It goes James Legg. If Mark were still here, I'd yeah, you know what? I think James. No, it's Mark. It's Mark, and then just by half a head, it's Mark, and then James Legg comes in, and then it's King Buzzo, and then it's everybody else. But I mean, that's my three horsemen of the apocalypse right there. Is Legg, Osborne, and Lanigan.
Oh, that's so good.
That's great. So what's your song of the week, Ethan?
I'm just gonna support that. That's the only song that they need to listen to. I had one, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because you've been drinking too much.
Yeah, it was like a Counting Crows song.
That's a hell of a 1-2 punch.
Yeah, it would have been good, but it wouldn't have been.
See, this is the best part about Grunge Bible Song of the Week, because the variety that's on this playlist is, I'd say, it's unparalleled. I mean, we've got everything on there. Yeah. I mean,
now we have James Legg.
Nick Drake is on there with James Legg, and then there's Waxahachie's on there, and Soccer Mommy's on there.
Swift.
And yeah, exactly. And then you got James Legg crashing the party. His rightful perch.
I love it, dude. I mean, he earned his spot.
Yeah, we met him when we were high.
Must have been drinking too much.
You must have, huh? Well, I think that'll just about do it for episode 72 of the Grunge Bible Podcast. Thanks for joining us for some Mother Love Bone talk that segued into some James Legg talk. I mean, that's a healthy combination right there, and we're happy that we were able to share this time with you, and we look forward to chatting about a new band next week. If you want to impart your wisdom as to what band that should be, go ahead and check out the Patreon. Join for as little as $2 a month, and who knows, we could be speaking about your favorite band next week.
Yep, and if you do nothing else but enjoy this podcast, please share it with a friend, share it with somebody. Let's get into the algorithm of other people, so then we can populate a little bit faster and, just help us out that way. So, and if not, just have a great week, and hopefully you will hear from us next week. Same time, same place.
That's where we'll always be. Thanks everybody for listening. We will talk to you next week. Take care.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
See ya.